everyone! Welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I've got a normal podcast episode for you today. I've been doing a lot of crafting over the last week, 2 weeks or so, despite my absolutely crazy schedule. This is the time of year where school days feel really, really long, but there seem to be a lot of events even though holidays are over. A lot of them are like friends trying to get together now that the holiday season is done and you kind of have the time to do that. But I also just have a lot of like school events that are coming up. If you send your kids to Catholic schools or attended a Catholic school, Catholic Schools Week is a really big thing around where I live. So I'm very much prepping for a crazy week next week, or actually this week when you're watching this. So if you know any teachers who work at Catholic schools, send them prayers during Catholic Schools Week, because it can be very, very fun, but also it's anything with a schedule shift is always kind of a roll of the dice situation. So I will be diving into that next week. But we're also hitting like the end of a semester and like a lot of units were wrapping up, so there were a lot of tests and a lot of grading. Just a lot of things going on. And on top of that, we had 2 snow days at my school. So there were 2 days that I had to like figure out how to make up before the quarter ended. So it's been very busy. So I have really appreciated any time I get to sit and relax and craft. And I did manage to get a couple of items done to show you guys today. So I have some finished objects, I have some whips to show you, and I even have some acquisitions of stuff that I bought, which I'm now wondering if I like actually got it all out. No, I didn't, so I'm gonna add those to the pile to show you in just a minute. So first of all, my finished objects. One of these you would have already seen if you watched the other videos on my channel, but I did finish my Bejeweled inspired socks. These are broken rib stitch socks in a hand-dyed sparkly variegated yarn that I got from a thrift store. It did have the label on it when I got it, so I know that it's superwash wool and can wash it according to those directions. But I do not have it out anymore, so I don't remember what it was. You'll have to go watch the video because I definitely said it there. But I love how these turned out. I'm really excited to wear them, but I did realize while I was working on them that the blue dye that's used is very strong and was coming off on my hands, so I think I'm going to have to wash them and do some wool wash on them before I can wear them. I'm really hoping that the colors don't bleed into each other and kind of muddy up all of the colors, so that'll have to be an experiment. I'm a little nervous, but really proud of myself for finishing these, both just in general and in time for the video to come out when I had it scheduled. So those were very exciting. Can't wait to wear them. I should probably wash these this weekend because one of our Catholic School Week days is wearing crazy socks. So maybe I'll have to get these done in time in order to wear them for that. I also own a pair of clear plastic Converse that I was going to wear with my crazy socks regardless, but it'd be really fun to show off some hand knit socks with those clear Converse. My second finished object was an item that I haven't really made one like this before. I make a lot of shawls and scarves and like rectangular cowls or infinity scarves, but I've never made a bandana cowl before. And I did finish the one I was working on. This is just in plain stockinette stitch with 7 different minis that I picked up from my local yarn store, although the last 2 kind of blend together, so it's a little hard to tell which one is which. But these were all minis dyed by Emma's Yarn, and a couple of them were specific colorways inspired by Milwaukee. The first one, this like variegated blue, I know was called Go Brewers, and the bright yellow was called Milwaukee. I think the mostly white with like speckles of blue was called like Snowdrop or Dewdrop, I don't remember. This like off-white with the orange and yellow speckles I believe was called Orbit. The yellow again was Milwaukee. The deeper yellow brown mustard is Wish You Were Beer. The teal and kind of brown variegated was In Your Dreams, I believe. And then the final one is Yarn Husband, which was a variegated, mostly light blue with, I believe, occasional pops of other things, but mostly light blue and white. I did block this, otherwise the end would not have laid correctly. But I'm actually going to wear this tomorrow because tomorrow my school has a Spirit Wear Dress Down Day and our colors are blue and gold. So I'll be wearing that tomorrow. Very excited to wear it for the first time now that it's off the blocking board. And I really liked that one as a travel project because it was mostly stockinette in the round with one set of increases, so it was really easy mindless knitting. In fact, I'm like pretty sure I'm gonna start another one like maybe today because I liked working on it so much. But I do have a lot of other whips going right now, so I probably shouldn't, but I might because it looks fun. And I have another set of minis, or they're not so much minis, they're closer to half skeins. They're a little bit bigger than the like actual minis I was working with, but I might have to work on some of those. But let's dive into some whips next. I've kind of been all over the place in terms of working on projects, both because I want to keep my schedule of finishing one pair of Taylor Swift socks and one pair of gift socks a month. And I finished my Taylor Swift socks, obviously, and I'm currently halfway done with my gift socks that I was working on. Meaning that I have finished one sock and cast on the other one. Also, if you are my mom, don't watch this part. You can skip ahead, although you've already seen the yarn, so it won't be that much of a spoiler, and I'm making identical socks for another person in my family, so look if you want, Mom, I guess. Whatever you want to do. But I am going to be showing the finished sock, so if you would like to click off, make sure you do so now. This is the first sock for my mom. So this was a yarn from the Hobby Lobby hand-dyed, the Yarn Bee hand-dyed collection that you can get from Hobby Lobby. My Hobby Lobby seems to be phasing it out. There aren't a lot of these left regularly anymore, but they also don't seem to like actually be going away, and it's different colors every time I go. So maybe they're just trying to get rid of their stock. Maybe my store just happens to be mid-reorganizing and this is the thing that's taking the hit. I don't really know. If your Hobby Lobby still has the like wall of hand-dyed yarn, let me know because I'm curious why they'd be getting rid of this when I think it's their only sock yarn now because I had trouble finding the Patton's Croix sock yarn last time I was there. And B, it is pretty, even though like I'm 90% sure it's not really a hand-dyed yarn. I think it's still machine dyed. But it's a good, more affordable alternative to like indie dyed yarns for those who want to try something that looks like an indie dyed yarn but isn't. So I'd be surprised if they like truly got rid of this. But I really liked how this yarn worked up. So for my socks, the width of the variegation was that one color went about half of the circumference of the sock. But I occasionally like altered my tension a little bit to give it more of a tie-dye effect because I didn't want it to spiral perfectly, which is why I got this kind of funky shape on the leg. But then I really liked how on the heel it looks more like micro stripes because the width of the rose gets a lot shorter, and I also like that I got a little bit of the micro striping across the top of the foot. And then same thing at the toe. It becomes much more of a micro stripe look with those wide kind of swirly irregular stripes on the foot. So this is what it looks like from the front and from the side and from the back. We'll just get all the angles of this sock right now. But really love how this turned out. I think my mom's gonna like it. I did a 10, 20, 30, 40 row leg plus a 10 row 1 by 1 rib cuff, and then the foot was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 65 rows for the foot, and then the toe decreases. I held this up against my Bejeweled socks because my mom and I have the same size shoe, and the Bejeweled socks fit me really well. I think better than any hand knit socks I've made so far, so I kind of used those as the guideline to size these. I have just barely cast on the second sock, like I have knit 1 row of the ribbing, so I'm excited to knock out the other one sometime soon. I have really enjoyed knitting socks. I am starting to think that I'm glad that the Taylor Swift ones will be kind of textured and more interesting, because a lot of my gift ones are probably going to be vanilla socks or ribbed throughout socks. So it'll be nice to have like 1 boring pair going at a time and 1 interesting pair going at a time. I'm a little concerned I'm not going to finish these before the end of January, given that today is January 25th. And I have a very busy weekend ahead, but I can try. That's why I think I talked about this in a different podcast episode, but I do have 10 total pairs of gift socks to make and 10 total Taylor Swift pairs of socks to make. So even if I like miss a month here and there, I have 2 months of like wiggle room essentially. Also, sorry if you just heard my heat kick on. Even though it's not as cold as it was here for a while, it is still cold, so the heat is going to kick on. It's currently like right around 40 degrees in my area, which was super gross having recess duty today because the playground is essentially a giant puddle with some snow occasionally. So really gross day to play on the playground, but the kids seem to be having fun anyway. My next whip is one that, like, I'm not putting a timeline on when I finish it. It's gonna kind of be like a background project that I work on, but I have gotten a little bit farther in my mosaic colorwork cowl that I started. And the way this cowl is going to work is the edging is, I'm getting my necklace stuck in my needles. That was interesting. The edging is actually a tube, and there's 2 tiny holes here so that I can thread a drawstring through this end. I'll then knit it continuously in the round, no increases or decreases, just knitting down, and do some sort of an edging so that the top of the cowl will be drawstring so that you can pull it tight around your face or around your neck to keep the cold out, and the rest will kind of just hang down like a regular cowl. I have made one like this before for my dad, but it was all 1 color. It didn't have the colorwork motif on it. I do have a stitch marker from where I left off last time, but it's on the inside of the band, so I'm just going to go ahead and move it for next time so that I can see how far I got. But I do like how this is working up. I decided to stagger my pattern, so instead of having the little 2x2 squares directly on top of each other, I'm staggering them, and that seems to be working so far. I didn't quite do my math right, so it's going to look a little funny along the seam where the beginning and the end of the row is, but that'll be at the back of my neck under my hair most likely, so you won't even see it. But I do like how this is working up. I do think I have enough yarn to do a matching hat for it, and I'm thinking that I might want to do a Musselburgh hat with the mosaic stitching and maybe do a mosaic pattern on the inside and a different one on the outside so I can swap between the 2 patterns. I do have a Musselburgh hat in progress as well because I started it over Christmas, but I haven't worked on it in a while, and that one I'm also not putting a timeline on because we're getting to the point where it'll start getting warmer and warmer, so the need for hats is decreasing. Plus, I do like knitting small objects over the summer because they don't sit on my lap and make me too warm. So hats are actually a great summer project, or like warm weather in general project. Same thing with socks. So that's why I'm like not pushing myself to finish it to wear it this winter season. because I know that that's a project that I will want to work on over the summer. It won't be too big and heavy to work on, unlike some of my other projects that I have going right now. So my goal is to have a red cardigan by Valentine's Day. And I would say that I'm making pretty good progress. I did just drop my hook in there, so I'm going to pull the strand out a little bit so that I don't lose my spot. This is one of my hexagons, and this is the one I'm currently working on, so you can see pretty good progress on that. It's almost the width I want for the sleeve, and I have finished the other one to the sleeve width I want. So last time I checked in with you, my stitch marker was here because I was still working on the first hexagon. So the plan, this is how wide I wanted the sleeve to be. So a little bit of extra room, but not a ton. I'm gonna have to extend the sleeve in order to make it long sleeved. But the body right now is like, it would be kind of fitted on me. So what I'll probably do is sew up the sides of both hexagons once the other one is the same size as this one, and finish the sleeves to the length that I want, and then continue the front, back, and bottom of each half, and then seam them together so that I get a little bit of a boxier body for the cardigan, but the sleeves aren't gigantic. I do have a couple, more than a couple at this point. I think we're up to several hexagon cardigan videos on my channel. They do have their own playlist if you'd like to check them out. And in quite a few of them, or like at least two, I think, I talk a lot about shaping and how to adjust the arm length and the body length and the width and all of that stuff. So if you're interested in making a hexagon cardigan but don't want the giant oversized look that a lot of people do, you can check those videos out to adjust your shaping a little bit. I also have multiple stitch patterns for the hexagon cardigan, so you are not limited to just the granny square stitch or the granny hexagon stitch. You can choose from a couple of different stitch patterns and designs. But I think I'm making pretty good progress with that cardigan. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to finish it by Valentine's Day. There's also a red, white, and blue day at school coming up, and I realized that I have nothing to wear for that, but I also realized I don't own any white t-shirts, so it doesn't matter if I finish it on time for that or not. I'm still going to be kind of at a loss as to what to wear. I might actually wear my Taylor Swift cardigan that's kind of off-white with a red t-shirt underneath and jeans. That might work better. Definitely would be easier. Don't have to finish a cardigan by then. So let's just plan on that for that dress-up day. But red cardigan for Valentine's Day would be nice. Although, because Valentine's Day is on Ash Wednesday this year, we're actually celebrating Valentine's Day the day before. So doing all the Valentine exchanging stuff a little early as to not conflict with the solemn nature of Ash Wednesday. Catholic school things. This is just what we do. The other thing that I've been like pretty casually working on is my mosaic knit cardigan, and you can see I'm actually in the middle of a row. Don't have a ton of progress on this one. I'm just getting to the point where one of my colors is going to change pretty soon. I'm going to go from the bright teal to kind of a bluish purple. And then the orange will shift several rows later, but I'm just kind of plugging along on this one. Not a ton to show for it, but I am enjoying it when I do pull it out. I do like mosaic knitting for like listening to an audiobook because it's enough like stimulation that I don't want anything visual as much. It's also a good podcast project, but it's kind of too much looking at the project to watch like a TV show I've never watched before, unless it's something like in the Parks and Rec department of like light, mostly dialogue based, don't really need to watch the images that closely. But it's a good like mid-tier difficulty project where there are some things I can listen to while working on it, but not everything. So that's why that one probably also won't move very quickly in terms of progress. But yeah, those are all of my whips, I think. At least all of the like active ones. I have a couple kind of scattered that I just haven't been working on as much. Like I definitely still have a hexagon cardigan that is short sleeved and a mesh stitch that I started last spring or summer and haven't finished it yet. That's definitely in a box somewhere. I think I have a couple of scarves in progress. I have a shawl that I definitely want to frog. I just haven't frogged it yet. So there's a lot of like other things going on here. But that is why I show you all my projects so that maybe I actually finish some of them. Also, forgot to say this, but I put some lights up around my yarn display. These actually were our Christmas tree lights, but I decided I didn't like them on the Christmas tree because it can't do a warm white setting, and that's what I like on Christmas trees. That's why I did mine red and green for most of the season, because the white was like too bright piercing white, but the yellow was like too yellow. So we now have just plain warm white Christmas lights. I really wanted the novelty of being able to change the colors on the Christmas tree, but they have found a home right here. So I just have them on blue today to match my outfit, but you'll probably see them change in every video because there's lots of settings. Let's move on to acquisitions now that I've been talking for over 20 minutes about other stuff. So I have done a little bit of yarn shopping. I also did some notions shopping, which was very exciting. Let's start with notions. Well, I'm going to go in order of like where I got things from. So the first two items I purchased were actually from Amazon, and they're both for Taylor Swift socks. So the first thing I got was 2 pairs of Chalgu red lace needles in size 3, which is 3.25 millimeter, because my next pair of Taylor Swift socks will actually be DK weight instead of sock weight. So I needed some bigger needles in order to knit those up, and I wanted 2 pairs so that I can knit them in tandem instead of one at a time. So got those. The other thing I ordered from Amazon is for an upcoming pair of Taylor Swift socks, and I think I'm not even going to tell you which album it's for. You're just going to have to guess, although it'll be fairly obvious. But this is a yarn from Hedgehog Fibers, and it is called Fool's Gold. I love this colorway. I am not usually a yellow person. Like, I like it occasionally, but I'm not usually drawn to it. But I saw this color online, and first of all, I love that it has the deeper like mustardy yellow in it, because that is a color that I like. But these speckles were really what drew me in. So there's like teals and greens and definitely like bright pink and some black and some blue. Just gorgeous colors. So very excited to work with that. Leave your guess in the comments. Someone is calling me. I don't know who it is, so we're gonna hang up. Leave your guess in the comments for what album you think this is for. I am very excited to be working with this. The other like big shopping thing I did was actually to a new to me local yarn store, and it's a little bit further away from me, so that was why I hadn't been to it yet, although I think it started up fairly recently, like definitely within the last 5 years, if not within the last 2. But it's called Fiber Fever. It's still in the Milwaukee-ish area, and I was able to go see it because we were driving down to Illinois, and we're gonna go right past it. So I figured we had to stop at the yarn store and see what was there. And I was so glad I stopped because they carry some notions from Twice Sheared Sheep. And I watched at least 3 people on YouTube get the advent calendar from Twice Sheared Sheep with all the fun notions in it, and immediately saw so many things that I wanted. So I decided to pick some things up while I was there. And only one of these notions is from Twice Sheared Sheep. So I'll show that one first. But I got the cable locks from Twice Sheared Sheep. How many times am I going to say that? I'm impressed I haven't messed up yet. But you slide these over the ends of your cable needles to keep your stitches in place. And I thought that that was really handy, especially since I travel with my knitting a lot. And then I got something else kind of as an alternative. These are stitch stoppers, and they are by Fox and Pine Stitches. But they were little skeletons, so I had to get them because I love skeletons. These just go on the ends of the needles and work the same way. You just can't slide them up and down like you can with the cable locks. So, very excited to try both of those. And I did get 3 skeins of yarn. So, one of them is for Taylor Swift socks. I just knocked something over and I don't know what it was. Oh well. So tell me if you can guess what album this is for. Some dark, moody colors. This is Malabrigo Sock in the color Swamp. So this is a fingering weight yarn, 100% superwash merino, and it's in these deep, like, black, cherry, burgundy tones. There's a lot more black in it than what it's showing up as on camera. It's looking like purpley on this end, but it is some deep blacks and burgundies. Then the other 2 I got were just for fun because I fell in love with the colorways. This one is also Malabrigo Sock in the color Myths, and it is some very, I'm surprised that this one is called Swamp. This one looks very swampy to me. Like swampy greens, some purples, some blues, lots and lots and lots of speckles, lots of like olivey and sagey green tones. Really excited to work with that. And then the last one I got is actually from Fiber Fever, so it's their in-house yarn. And I believe she said that, oh yeah, there's a different colorway, I think, every month. So this is one of the ones from November of 2023, and it's called Weird Science, which as a former science teacher also just had to have it. So it's an off-white, kind of beigey, creamy base with splotches of bright teal, brown, and like a rusty orange. I thought those would be very fun socks as well. And I was just really excited to try a local yarn store because that's always fun. Loved the shop. There was definitely a lot of stuff there. I had seen people talking about it online before, but a lot of the reviews I saw said that it had a lot of chunky yarn, which it did. But as someone who now is super into socks, I was still able to find a really good selection of what I was looking for. So I highly recommend it. It was very fun to walk in there and just see what they had. And also, if you do like knitting with chunky yarn, they have a lot. So you will find lots of very beautiful hand-dyed options in chunkier weights if that's what you prefer. I think I've talked enough in this episode, so that's going to be it for today. Thank you for checking out all of my projects with me and for watching this video. If you'd like to subscribe, make sure you hit that button down below so that you can be notified of all of my crafty content right here on YouTube. And if you'd like to follow me on other social media sites, that information will be in the description box below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.